Nice Saturday night here in Ontario, Canada. And once again, we're inside because even though it's not wintry weather outside, it's actually quite warm. We're in the middle of a rainstorm right now. So we will do this English question and answer session indoors because that is the best place to do it. If you are new here, I'm Bob the Canadian. I just want to say hello to everyone who I was talking to in the chat beforehand. I didn't have a lot of time to talk in the chat, but it was nice to be able to talk to some of you, to chat with some of you. Again, welcome to this live lesson. Let me check to make sure everything is working. We will do this. It looks like everything is working really well. I just want to mention, if you look behind me, I've started to hang up a few more postcards over the last few years. Over the last year, I've gotten more postcards. I usually get 3 or 4 postcards a week, and I'm starting to put them up here. I'm a little overwhelmed with the sheer number of postcards that I get. So anyways, the way this works is if you ask questions in the chat over there, Todd will post a link for the first 45 minutes or so. Todd will post a link. Those questions will go into a Google form. And I will then copy and paste them back into the chat and try to answer them. So the first question is so let's get started. That's what I normally say. Let's get started. First question is from Madi. Madi says, what are some differences between American and Canadian English? In what aspects are they different? So that's quite a big conversation. The simple answer is that Canadian English and American English are very close cousins of each other. There are some words like Sean, who's from Free 99 English. I know last week people were commenting that he says about in a little bit of a different way. He says it the same way I say it, but in English we do say words like about a little bit differently. Let me just check to make sure the connection's working. Looks like things are working. I'm getting a few poor connection notices here, but I think things seem to be working fine. So we say a few words a little bit differently, and we spell some of our words a little bit differently. But for the most part, American and Canadian English are very, very similar. Madi has another question. Do you have different accents there? I mean, in Canada. Yeah, there are slight variations of the English accent in Canada. People from the East Coast, particularly from the province of Newfoundland, have a bit of an accent. That might be putting it mildly. But yes, we do have some variation in accents in Canada for sure. Not nearly as big a variation as they do in the United States though, but we do have some variation in our accent. Next question is from Edwin. Edwin says, oh wait, that didn't paste in. There we go. Edwin says, hello Bob, thank you for these live streams. You're welcome, Edwin. Can you please tell me how to properly use neither and either? So first of all, I say neither and either, or I say neither and either. There's a bunch of different pronunciations, but neither one is wrong, and you can use either one. So let's do this. Neither pronunciation is wrong. You can use either one. Okay, so there I use them in a sentence. So what I'm saying is, of the two, neither one is wrong or neither one is wrong. You can use either one or you can use either one. So there you go. There's an example of how to use it, as well as some pronunciation. Someone has sent a question saying they think I'm cute. Thank you for the compliment. Not going to paste that one over. Flavio though says, hey Bob, Flavio here. Can you help me with burn up and burn down? Thanks. So when I had a fire a couple of weeks ago, I put things in the fire and then they would burn up. Okay, so if I throw a book in a fire, that book would burn up. That means the book would catch on fire and that book would burn up in the fire. When a house catches on fire though, we say that the house burns down. Okay, so just a slight difference in usage. When you throw something small in a fire, it will burn up. When something large like a building is on fire, we say that it will burn down. Let's see here. Augusto has the next question. Augusto Simplice says, what's the difference in meaning between you should eat that soup versus you should be eating that soup? They're pretty much the same. When I say you should eat that soup, that's a very direct command, and it's very much in the moment. When I say you should be eating that soup, it's a little bit more of a general statement, but they do both mean pretty much the same thing. Hopefully I pronounced this next word correctly. Bayan Darwish says, what is the difference? Bayan, I corrected your sentence there a little bit. Let me check something here though. I'm not sure that pasted correctly, guys. Let me just check. Oh, there it is. I got it. Okay. What is the difference between peculiar and strange? They mean the same thing. Peculiar is just harder to say. It's a little harder to say that one. But they mean almost the same thing. If something is strange or peculiar, it means that it's a little odd looking. Here we go. Next question. Renata says, what's the difference in meaning between based on and based off of? So you can have a story that's based on a true story. So you could watch a television show and they might say this television show is based on a true story. You could also say it's based off of a true story. We would most likely use based on. Okay, so I know some people are concerned because there's a couple thumbs down. There's thumbs down all the time on YouTube. It doesn't bother us. But if you want to give me a thumbs up, that'd be great. I love it when people give me a thumbs up. Let me clean up my questions here. I hope I explained that well enough for you, Renata. Let's see here. Lolly has the next question. Lolly says, hi, Bob. I had an aha moment. Do you use this fun expression in Canada? Merci, Bob. Yes, we do. When you have an aha moment, it means that maybe you're trying to put together a new piece of furniture and you're not sure how it goes together. And then all of a sudden you notice it just slides together nicely and you have an aha moment. An aha moment is that moment when you figure something out or when the answer suddenly comes to you. We would call that an aha moment. I have a lot of aha moments. I love it when I have an aha moment. Next question is from Bianca. Bianca says, hey, Bob, should I say go after the bus or go behind the bus? What's the difference? Thanks. So it depends what you're trying to do, Bianca. If you are late for the bus and it's leaving, you might run after the bus. So if the bus is pulling away and you're like, wait, I need to get on the bus, you would say that you run after the bus. I'm not sure what you mean by go behind the bus. We do have another saying though, when you throw someone under the bus. To throw someone under the bus means to blame them for something. So you could think of an example, maybe at work, me and a coworker did something wrong, and when the boss comes, I could say, he did it. It was his fault. That would mean that I am throwing him under the bus, not literally throwing him under the bus. Hopefully that answered your question. Renata has the next question. What does the expression silver fox mean? So this is an older expression. It's not used a lot anymore, but a silver fox would be an older gentleman with some gray hair who is very attractive. That would be my definition of a silver fox. Let me just make sure that's the same definition these days. Let's see here. An attractive middle-aged man with gray hair. There we go. That's silver fox. Let me see here. Next question. Grace Zhang says, what is the meaning of virtual? Thanks, Bob. You're the best. Thanks, Grace. So virtual means not real or simulated. So this is the real world. When you play a video game, you're playing in the virtual world. Okay, so a virtual world is a world that's in a game. So right now we have reality and we have virtual reality in games. So a virtual reality is a simulated reality. So hopefully that makes some sense. And just so you're clear on the pronunciation, it's virtual. Let's Let's see here. Renata has the next question. Renata says, what do snarky and wonky mean? So snarky is when you give a really quick, mean answer. So if someone says to me, how is your day? And if I answer by saying, my day's fine, how's your day? So I'm really snarky. I'm mean when I answer it. And wonky means when something's not working right. So if the tire on your car wobbles, you could say that your car's going a little bit wonky, okay? Hey, I just wanted to mention a couple of things. First of all, hi to the 270 people watching. I wanted to mention one, Todd and I talked yesterday, and we decided that the chat over there, or maybe it's down there on your phone, the chat should always be in English. We had some folks yesterday in the chat speaking in other languages, and in order to keep the chat friendly and happy, and for Todd and I to know what's going on, we're going to ask that chat always be in English. I think that's better for all of you anyways, because as you watch the chat, you will see that, sorry, I got to scroll back here because I think something got auto-blocked from Sean. We'll fix that later. Let's keep the chat in English. I think it's just better for everybody all around. But let's get to the next question. Let me go to my question sheet. We just finished a question about snarky and wonky. Denise, wait, I'm clicking in the wrong spot. There we go. So Denise says, hi Bob, what is the difference between pray and play? So when you pray, when you are religious, if you are a religious person, you pray. So you close your eyes, fold your hand, maybe you bow, but you pray as a religious activity. And when you play, you are a kid and you play outside. Sometimes as adults, we play games as well. But when you pray, it is a religious activity. When you play, it is something that you do with kids. Todd, if Sean posts a link to his live stream and it gets auto-blocked, just unhide it for him. If you see that happen again, I saw that go by in the chat. By the way, folks, Sean from Free 99 English will be doing a live English lesson starting in about 47 minutes. I'll post a link to it as I get to the end of my live English lesson, but he's ready to go again. Some of you went to his live lesson last week and yesterday, and he's doing another one tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'll post a link to that. Sean will mention it a few times too. Actually, Sean and I talked today via Instagram video chat. It was super fun to talk to another Canadian English teacher. I'm not going to tell you what we talked about though. It's a secret. Sean and I will let you know at some point in the future what we talked about. Let's see. I can't. So Papi Chulo, I'm going to remove your last word. Actually, Pappy, I'm not sure what your question is, so I'm just going to skip that one. Sorry about that. Maybe you can ask it a little differently. That might be better. Next question is from Augusto Simplice. Little did we know they weren't playing games. Why this kind of inversion of little did? It's just one of the creative ways we use English. We like to have what's called wordplay, and we like to use little word phrases. Like little did I know that when I started this YouTube channel, it would grow so big. But it has a nice sound to it. And so when we say things in English and they sound really cool, a lot of times we start to use it in everyday English. It's one of the cool things about the language. Deekshanch says, Bob, do you know about the word prepone? It's one of those words that originated in India. It's the opposite of postpone. It means to bring forward to an earlier date or time. So I did not know that word, Deekshanch. That is a new word for me. Thank you for sharing that with me. I will look it up. I'll try to use that word with my colleagues next week because it is not a common English word right now. So that will be fun to use an English word when I'm talking to my colleagues that they are not familiar with. So thank you for that. Again, folks, if you have questions, please, for the first half an hour to 45 minutes, Todd will be posting the link over there. I do have quite a few questions building up, so please be patient. And please use the chat for like some small English conversations. Edson has the next question. Hi, Bob. How can I use whatsoever? So I had no idea whatsoever how to change the tire on my car. So I just put a little example sentence in there for you. I had no idea whatsoever how to change the tire on my car. So when you say I had no idea whatsoever, it means you really, really didn't know how to do it. Let's see here. Can get Bob the little wheel. So I hope the live stream's working for all of you. Still working here good for me. So I'm just going to keep going. Renata says, did you want to be a teacher when you were a kid? So that's a good question. When I was a kid, I really liked to organize games with my brothers and sisters and my cousins. My cousins actually lived across from us. And so I was always the one that organized games in the afternoon. If any of my cousins or siblings are watching, they might explain it differently. But I always liked teaching people things. I didn't know I wanted to be a teacher, though, until I was in my 3rd year of university. And all of a sudden, it made sense that I really liked explaining things. And so I thought I'll just change my program. I was originally a biology major, and I changed to teaching. Sean from Pre99 says things seem to be working fine for him, so that's good to know. Next question is from Ario. I can talk to myself often to improve my speaking. Is that okay? Yes. Speaking to yourself, speaking out loud, speaking and recording yourself and listening to it with a critical ear later on are all good ways to practice your speaking. It also helps you to start to think in English when you do that. Let's see here. Next question from Mohammed. Mohammed from Pakistan says, hi, Bob. Please answer my question. What is the difference between discovered, determined, and found? Thank you. Well, I discovered that I was having a lot of fun making YouTube videos. I found that I was having a lot of fun making YouTube videos. So those two can be used interchangeably. After a while, I determined that it would be a good thing to put time into. So the determine has a slightly different connotation, a slightly different meaning, but they are very similar in terms of we start sentences often with, I found the movie to be exciting. That would be a common thing to do, or to say, excuse me. Gabriel says, hey Bob, what's the meaning of bite the bullet? Thanks. So that's a great phrase. When you have to bite the bullet, it means that you just need to get it done. So I used to work construction, and sometimes you would be in a job situation where it was something hard to do, and you just had to do it. I'm just going to look up a definition here. Bite the bullet, decide to do something difficult or unpleasant that one has been putting off or hesitating to do. So when you bite the bullet, it just means there's something you have to do, and maybe you don't want to do it, and you just have to do it. You just have to get started. Let's see here. Mop has the next question. Hi, Bob. I learn a lot from you. Thank you very much. You're welcome, Mop. What's the difference between say and mention? So I can say my name to someone, and I can mention my name to someone. So in that situation, they mean the same thing. Oftentimes, during my live lessons, I mention a lot of things. Oftentimes, I say a lot of things. So they do have similarities. And in those two examples, you can use them the same way. Sean, there's a sad story about this. I had my travel mug yesterday. If you watch yesterday's live stream, I have my travel mug, and today I couldn't find it. So it was just a cheap free one, but I'm using Jen's travel mug tonight. So that's the way it goes. Sometimes you lose things in life. If you're wondering where that came from, Sean just asked me in the chat if I had a new mug. So let's see. Next question from Leonardo. How do I use ought? I'd like to see some real life examples. So I ought to give you some examples then. So I gave you a sentence right there using the word ought. So you can say, oh, I ought to do that. I ought to give you some. It's a funny little word. We do use it though. Sometimes we ought not to use it, but there would be an example for you. When you feel like you should do something, you know, if my throat was dry, I ought to drink more. And as I say it, it actually sounds funny, but it is a really common English word, but tricky to learn how to use it properly. Let's see here. Fernando says, hi, Bob. I like watching British dramas on Netflix too. Yeah, that is one of my favorite things to do. I think the next season of Vera is coming out. That is one of my favorite British crime dramas. It's about an older lady in the British detective service who investigates crimes. So thanks, Fernando, for sharing that with me. Let's see here. Alex, hello, Bob. How are you? I'm good, Alex. Thank you. I'm Alex from Brazil. Could you please explain the difference between excuse me and I'm sorry? Thanks. So slight difference depends on the situation. If I was to walk up to someone in a store, a stranger who I didn't know, I would say, excuse me, do you know where the brooms that are on sale are? So I would start by saying, excuse me. You could actually walk up and say, I'm sorry to bother you. Could you tell me where the brooms are? But generally, if you do something, like if you accidentally trip someone, you could probably say, I'm sorry, or excuse me. You would say, I'm sorry more in that situation. Slight differences. I'm not sure I'm giving the best explanation. It would be worthwhile to look up several examples because we say, excuse me, and we say, I'm sorry a lot for a lot of different scenarios. A little hard to explain all of them here. And it's a very quick response, right? Like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Or, excuse me, I need to get through here. So in one sense, I'm sorry is apologizing. And in the other sense, saying, excuse me is asking for forgiveness in advance. Like, excuse me, I need to squeeze through this, or I need to get in line here. Grace says, what is the meaning of merci? Thanks, Bob. Well, merci is the French word, is French for thank you. So there you go, merci. Merci beaucoup means thank you very much or thanks a lot. In English, we have the word mercy. The word mercy means to be nice to someone who is asking your forgiveness or to just be compassionate with someone. It's worth looking up the word mercy. Let's see here. Augusto has a big question here. Augusto says, if we would have said it on November, nobody would have believed it, versus if we had said it in November, if we had said it in November, nobody would have believed it. Do they have a different meaning? So if I would have said it in November, no one would have believed that, versus if we had said it in November, nobody would have believed that. They mean the same thing. Yeah. And they're both completely correct. And we would use both variations. Absolutely. Let's see here. Anna Lopera says, hi, Bob. How would you correct this question? Why is your coffee still hot? Well, that's a great question. And there's nothing wrong with it. So I wouldn't correct it. So if someone had coffee and it was hot, you could say, why is your coffee still hot? That would be totally legitimate. That's a good question, actually. Why isn't your coffee cold yet? That would be another way to ask it. Let's see here. I'm probably not going to copy and paste the comments that say I'm handsome, because first of all, I don't think I'm handsome. And second of all, we're here to learn English, not talk about my looks. But speaking of looks, I actually thought our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, I thought his beard looked good. I don't know if you saw him on TV this week, but I thought that was nice that he's grown a beard. Next question from Norma. Hi, Bob. Can you say a person is weird when he is very strange? Yes. It's not polite to say someone is weird. If you're talking to someone else, you could say, my cousin's really weird. And you could say, my cousin's really strange. Means exactly the same thing. Just going to pause two things. If you're new here, Don't forget to click the subscribe button. Thumbs up is an awesome thing to do as well. And if you have questions, please use the link that Todd is sharing. We'll be taking questions for about another 10 minutes or so. There are a lot of questions adding up here. George, I can't answer your question because one of your words is actually a little bit of a bad word. So I'm going to leave that one out. But we're going to go with the next question here. Let's see. Dallas says, hey, Bob, what does the expression spill it out mean? Well, first of all, we don't usually say spill it out. If we want someone to say something, we say spit it out. Spill it out is not, we would say that, you know, they spilled out of the car. And if someone knows something and you want them to say it out loud, you would say spill it out. Sorry, you would say spit it out. We don't say spill it out, so ignore that one. That was a typo and I misspoke there. But yes, definitely spit it out if one of my kids broke something and they won't tell me which kid did it, I would say, come on, spit it out. Or I would say spill the beans. Come on. Luis Roa says, hey Bob, could you correct this sentence? These eggs are yours. So these eggs are yours. You could also say, these eggs are for you. That would work too. Both of those would work. Let's see here. Alex says, hi Bob, how are you? I'm happy. Is this a common question answer for natives? For me, it's weird to say happy. You can't be happy all the time. Could you please help me clarify? So for me personally, when someone says, how are you? I say, I'm fine. That is probably my normal response. If someone says, how's it going? I usually say, oh, it's going pretty good. But I don't normally say I'm happy. My standard answer is it's going good or I'm fine. There are a lot of videos on this on YouTube where you can find a lot of different common answers to the question, how are you? And if you're wondering if English speakers actually say, how are you? We do all the time. We say, how's it going? And we say, how are you? All the time. Very, very common. There are some YouTube videos where they want you to think we don't say that we say a lot of other things. But in my part of Canada, we almost always say hi, hello, how are you, how's it going? Those are the 4 most common greetings in Ontario, Canada that I can think of. Let's see here. Adolfo Carrillo says, Bob, do you agree that, first of all, is the double L in Spanish like a Y sound? Did I say that right? Is it Carrillo? Adolfo Carrillo? Bob, do you agree that the weird thing about learning English is that the spelling doesn't, little correction there, doesn't correspond with the pronunciation? At least Spanish is spelled as it's written. I would say that English is kind of like that. Yeah, there are a lot of words that are pronounced according to rules. And then there's a lot of words where you just have to memorize it. So I'm sorry about that. I would say a good part of English, though, you can learn the rules and it will help you pronounce things. But then you need to learn a lot of exceptions. Did anybody tell me, was it Carrillo? Is that the correct pronunciation? Let me know in the chat. That would be great. Ed Rigglesworth. Can you tell me the pronunciation of 6th? Worcestershire. I say that one wrong. I don't know how to say it quite right. Brewery and February. Okay, so we do say February. It's technically February. And there's all slight pronunciations of the R right down to the most common where we say February and you don't hear the R. But you will hear some people slightly say the R. But Worcestershire, I probably say wrong. 6th is really hard to say if I think about it. But yes, there are words that are a challenge even for native English speakers to say. Let's see here. Silvo Professor Bob, in Brazil, we have many cities with high levels of violence, robbery, crimes. In Canada, are there violent places too? Thanks. Yes, absolutely. Canada is a very civilized country, but we have our fair share of crime. That means that Canada has places that are unsafe. There are parts of the country and in some parts of our major cities where there is a lot of crime, okay? And it's unfortunate that we live in a world where there is so much crime. I wish there was a lot more peace and happiness around the world. And hopefully we can all make a difference as we learn English and just become better people, hopefully. Let's see here. Herman has the next question. Herman Funk says, hi Bob, how would you correct this? The movie is long or boring? So you could say the movie is long and boring, or you could say the movie is long, or you can say the movie is boring, or you could say the movie is boring and long. But we would probably say the movie is long and boring. That just sounds better to my mind. Let's see here. Baravilson, hi Baravilson. You know, Baravilson's been around almost since the beginning. He is a long time Bob the Canadian YouTube watcher. The other day you were laughing because a person asked you about a sugar daddy, and today I'm going to ask you if people consider you a silver fox. No, I'm just Bob the Canadian. I'm just a guy named Bob. There's nothing special about me except I like to teach English on YouTube. And now I'll move on to the next question. It does make me laugh, though, some of your questions. I like it. It's one of my favorite parts about doing this. Denis Welker says, or maybe it's Dennis, but Bob, did it snow these days in Canada? No, it is raining right now. It is not winter here, or it's not acting like winter. I wish it was a little more snowy outside. I also have a cup of water tonight, along with my cup of tea. Let's see here. Lola Gray says, hello, Bob. How would I say this correctly? I like to become a tour guide. So we would say, I would like to become a tour guide. That would be probably the most correct way to say that. I would like to become a tour guide. Someday I would like to become a tour guide. That would be, it's a conditional way to say it, right? Let's see. Let's see here. Rami, the question from a little baby from Russia. Dear Bob, if you were a girl or a woman, would you teach us English? Yes, it doesn't matter to me what gender I happen to be. I would teach you guys English regardless. I think I would be, let's see here. Papi Chulo, yeah. You know, Papi Chulo says, sorry, I read a sign with that expression and I didn't get it. Was it a risque sign? Was it a sign? Because I remember what your third word was. So I'm not sure. Maybe post it in the comments below and I will answer it down there tomorrow. I'll have a look at it then. Let me clean up my questions here, folks, as we continue to move along. Andrea Palma says, Dear Bob, how can I improve my speaking and listening skills? So let me answer the second part of that first. The way to improve your listening skills is to do a lot of listening and to be intentional about it. So only listen to English music, only watch the news in English, only watch television and movies in English. Listening is a very easy one to master because you can convert all of the things that you do for entertainment, so music, TV, movies, and do all of that in English. So watch everything and listen to everything in English. Your speaking skills, you may need to hire someone via Skype or FaceTime. There's actually a link in the description to a website, an app called Preply, where you can pay someone to have conversations with you. If you can't afford to hire someone, I would just say speak English out loud as much as you can, okay? Whether it's just talking to yourself, but do as much speaking out loud as possible to practice using the muscles in your mouth properly. Let's see here. Angela says, hi, Bob. What is the difference? So a little correction there. What is the difference between currently and actually? So I am currently teaching a lesson. That means that right now I'm teaching a lesson. Okay, so I'm currently teaching a lesson. If I was to say I am actually teaching a lesson right now, it means sort of the same thing, but when you use it is a little different. If someone phoned me right now and I said, oh, I don't have time to talk, I'm actually teaching a lesson right now. That would be how I would use it. But they are very, very similar, I think. Let's see. Next one is from Augusto Simplice. These are the kinds of ideas that I want for you to have in your mind versus these are the kinds of ideas that I want you to have in your mind. Any differences? No, they're very, very similar. And it's just a word choice. These are the kinds of ideas that I want for you to have in your mind is a little harder to say, but we would say it. The second one is probably more common. These are the kinds of ideas that I want you to have in your mind. And both are correct in informal speech. Hi, Jen. Did you want to come and say hi? Jen is not coming to say hi. So she will, though, be on a live stream again someday. If you remember last summer, she was on a live stream once, I think in September. That was fun, but not tonight. So next question. Tia Queen says, how would you correct this sentence? He sleeps late, but he is tired. Here's what there's a couple variations here. You could say he is sleeping late because he is tired. Okay, or he sleeps late because he is tired. Okay, so you do need the because there. Sean says hi, Jen. Hi, Sean. Jen says hi back. I don't know if you heard her. He is sleeping. Let me go back to the question. Yes, he is sleeping late because he is tired, or he sleeps late because he is tired. So those two would be how you would say it. Let me clean up my questions here. And this is from SBS. SBS says, Teacher Bob, what is the difference between I would like, I wish, thank you. So I would like everyone to speak English in the chat. I wish everyone would speak English in the chat. So there's a slight difference there. I would like means it's something that I would encourage. If I say I wish everyone did it, it means I really want everyone to do it. So one is a little more polite than the other. They both communicate, though, the intention. The intention is that I would like everyone to speak English in the chat, or I wish everyone would speak English in the chat. The second one, though, has, even though it's a positive statement, it has a slight tone of negativity to it, as if I'm upset about it. If I said, I wish everyone would speak English in the chat, you can hear a tone of frustration. But if I say I would like everyone to speak English in the chat, it's a positive request to people. Let's see here. Next question is from Guido Leon. Hi, Bob. Hi, Guido. How can I correct this sentence? Leo and me like ice cream. So Leo and I like ice cream. So now we're going to go informal. Me and Leo like ice cream. Technically incorrect, but people say it all the time. Or Leo and me like ice cream. So generally, you should say Leo and I, but in informal spoken English, we sometimes use me instead of I. So you can use either if you're just hanging out with friends. Tiago says, where are the most of your subscribers from? I corrected things a bit there, Tiago. Where are most of your subscribers from? So I can tell you that just in a moment. I believe last time I checked, most of my subscribers are actually from the United States. If you, I don't know if you believe that or not, but I'll look in my analytics for a sec. Let's see here, audience, and let's go for the last year, and then I'll scroll down to country. Here we go. Are you guys ready? The most subscribers from my channel are from number 1, Vietnam. Number 2, United States. Number 3, Brazil. Number 4, Thailand, Taiwan, South Korea, and then Canada. That's pretty cool. I'll make a video about that sometime, but that was kind of fun to look at. So now you know where most of my subscribers are from. But what you should know is that my subscribers are from almost every single part of the world, really. Like Russia, India, Japan, Ukraine, Mexico, Hong Kong, Turkey, Indonesia, Australia, Poland, United Kingdom, Italy, Saudi Arabia, Germany, Spain. This is how fast I normally talk, by the way. Iraq, France, Kazakhstan, Malaysia, Algeria, Philippines. I feel like I can't read them all, but shout out to all of the countries represented there. And thank you for being people who watch my videos. It's really, really fun. I was really happy because last Tuesday's video and the video from the Tuesday before, the videos about my daily routine, so that you could learn to talk about your daily routine, they were really hard to make. They took a lot of time. So I was really happy that so many people watch those videos. If you haven't watched them, you should watch them. Because I worked hard on them. No, I think they're good videos. I show you my whole day in 2 parts. So just search Bob the Canadian Daily Routine on YouTube and you'll find them. Anne says, "Hi Bob, can you please tell me what's the meaning of the expression to get the runs and if it's commonly used? Thanks." Yes, so when you get the runs, it means that you have diarrhea. It means that you are sick. And it means that you have to go to the bathroom a lot. Okay, so in English, when we're talking to children, we say pee and poop. So you have to go pee or you have to go poop. We also call it go number 1 or number 2. When you have the runs, it means that you have number 2 badly. You have diarrhea and you're going poop a lot. That's my explanation of it. It's not fun when you are that sick. Sean says his top countries are Vietnam, Canada, Brazil, USA, Russia, Taiwan, etc. Yeah, I think generally, because of the level of English that Sean and I teach, most of our viewers are from places where they have had some education in English. So they've probably had a couple English classes in school when they were a kid, and they've probably learned quite a bit of English, and you guys are probably looking just to improve it a bit. It's certainly like this live stream is not a like beginner only lesson, right? This is, you need a certain level of understanding to be able to catch what I'm saying. Let's see here. My question disappeared. Martin says, "Hi Bob, you are amazing. Thank you. Love you. What is the difference between dinner and supper? As you Americans often call dinner as the last meal of the day confusing. Regards from Poland." So when I was a kid, there was a difference. But now we use dinner and supper interchangeably. And it's probably not correct, but a lot of times we eat dinner late. A lot of times we eat supper late. We use the words as if they are the same word. I usually use supper. Like if I text Jen during the day, I might say, "Hey, what's for supper?" Or I might say, "Hey, do you want me to make supper tonight?" But you can use both. Let's see here. Oh, Zara, yes. That's a great question, Zara. Zara says, "Hi, Teacher Bob. If you don't mind, could you please tell us what are those photos behind your back?" So I made a couple corrections there, Zara, to your question. If you don't mind, could you please tell us what are those photos behind your back? So these are postcards that people have sent to me. I get a few postcards every week, and I really, really like reading them. They are one of the things I didn't expect to get so many postcards, and I'm not sure what to do with all of them. I read them. I love reading them. Originally, I was going to make a video and read the postcards that came in the mail, but there's literally too many to do that. So anyways, thank you if you sent one of these postcards, and keep your eye out. Keep your eye out. because I'll be putting more up every week. So let's see here. Where are we at? 15 minutes to go. Just a shout out again to Sean from Free 99 English. He's going to be doing a live lesson starting in 15 minutes. I will post a link to that, but if you are already subscribed to his channel, you're probably already aware. We're going to go another 15 minutes. I'm going to keep answering questions. Todd will probably not post the link anymore because there are just a lot of questions in the list right now. So sorry if I don't get to yours. Martin says, hello again, hottie. So hottie is a term for someone who you think is attractive. Thanks, Martin. What is the difference between shadow and shade? So here we go. Under a tree, there is shade. The shade from the tree is caused by its shadow, okay? So not to confuse you, but when you go under a tree, you are in the shade. Shade usually only occurs under trees or beside buildings, and it's when you are in the shadow of the tree or the building. When I walk along, beside me, the sun causes a shadow to be on the ground. I would not call that shade. So anyways, it's tricky. I know I probably shouldn't have mentioned it, but if you're under a tree, you're in the shade. If you're beside a building and you can't see the sun, you are in the shade of the building. That's probably the best way to explain it. Next question from Gemini. Hey Bob, first of all, thanks so much for teaching us. No problem. I appreciate and enjoy it. I love reading English books and believe that that is a good way to learn. Would you agree? Yes. And I also want to congratulate you on writing a sentence correctly using the word that twice in a row. Sometimes we do that. So let me read that again. I appreciate and enjoy it. I love reading English books and believe that that is a good way to learn. Would you agree? And I would say 100%. In fact, my video coming out this coming Tuesday is going to be about, a good plan for learning English in 2020. And I'm going to go through Monday through Friday of a week, and I'm going to talk about what you can do on each day of the week to help improve your English. And on one of the days, I'm going reading books, reading websites, reading everything in English is very, very helpful. Let's see here. Laura Yang says, or Young, hi Bob, how to correct this sentence? So you would say mine are on the top shelf. Okay, so where are your shoes? Mine are on the top shelf. Mine are on the top shelf. That's how I would correct that. I'm correcting a lot of sentences tonight. Am I doing homework for people? Are people doing their English homework from school? And am I just, wait, is that what's happening here? I hope not. Actually, I don't mind helping. An extra hint here and there from Bob the Canadian isn't too bad. Ario says, what's the meaning of shadowing someone? So 2 meanings. When you shadow someone in real life, I think it means that you're following them around. Like sometimes the police shadow someone. It's like they watch the criminal, but they don't arrest him. They shadow him. But if you are learning a language, we say shadowing when we refer to the act of listening to a native speaker, like on a YouTube channel, hitting pause and then saying what they say, and then hitting play, listening to them, pause, and then saying what they say. So you're shadowing what they are saying in English. Let's see here. Audio cutting out a few seconds. Yeah, I think it's really windy outside, so I think my internet's a little wonky. We'll see if Todd lets me know later. Oh, hey, hi English Danny. So English Danny is here as well. Just want to say hi to him quickly. Hi English Danny, welcome. Let's see here. Next question is from Gabby. Gabby says, what's the difference between the words someone and somebody? Thank you. So I am going to give someone a free car. I'm not actually. Okay, don't ask me for a free car. It's just an example. I am going to give somebody a free car. So in those two sentences, they mean the same thing. Again, there's no free car. No free car. Don't send me a postcard asking for a free car. It's just an example sentence. Let's see here. Angel Ortega, how can I improve my listening, but with other accents, maybe from India, England? Those are difficult to understand when you are learning. So, thanks, Sean. Yeah. A free car. We're almost done here, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. Here's how you can improve your listening of different accents. You have to expose yourself to those accents. I think YouTube is a great place where you can find YouTube videos that have subtitles where people are speaking in different English accents. And just that's a really helpful way to learn. Listen to someone from Britain, someone from India who is speaking English, and go from there. So almost done here. So just going to say just a sec here. Let's see. Todd, is the audio dropping out? Just going to ask Todd for a sec. He'll let me know how things are at his place. Let me clean up my questions. Let's see here. Pronunciation questions from Orifan Evans. Good morning, Bob. Hello. It's evening here. It's morning there. You must be, oh, you're in Australia. Yes. Let's see. How are you? And I hope you will take my questions. How do you pronounce saw and soar? So the other day I needed to cut some wood. So I used my saw. I lifted a lot of heavy things. Now my muscles are sore. So there's two sentences for you. The other day I made a mistake in the first sentence. The other day I needed to cut some wood, so I used my saw. I lifted a lot of heavy things. Now my muscles are sore. Let's see here. Next question. Brianne says, hi Bob, greetings from Venezuela. I find it difficult to improve my listening. What do you think about listening to English music in order to improve? So question came up a couple times tonight, and I just think the best thing to do is watch YouTube videos with the subtitles on, listen to a lot of English music, watch a lot of English TV. The more you expose yourself to English, audiobooks, I always forget to mention that, audiobooks are awesome because you can read and listen. One thing I recommend highly with audiobooks is get the book and read chapter 1 and then listen to chapter 2 and then read chapter 3 and then listen to chapter 4. It's a great way. I did that a lot when I was improving my French. It's a great way to get reading practice as well as listening practice. Fabricio, why are you laughing so suspiciously? Sometimes the questions in my spreadsheet make me laugh before I paste them in. So sometimes I know something funny is coming up, and it's not too suspicious, I hope. Next question, Daniel Trujillo. Hi, Bob. What does it mean, cuckoo bird, and how do you use it to describe a person? So I'll tell you this much. We do say that person is cuckoo. That means we think they're crazy. And we sometimes say that person is a kook. I don't know if that's common across Canada, but that's how we would say it. That person's cuckoo. And what we mean is they're a little bit crazy. Do you guys use this hands gesture for crazy? Like, ooh, that guy's cuckoo. Let's see here. Next question from Leonardo. What's the meaning of the word whereas and how to use it properly? So it's a very formal word, like whereas the neighbor had many goats, the young man had none. Like it's something you'll read in like a novel, but we don't say whereas in spoken English very much. So you could hear my tone like, whereas the neighbor had many goats, the young man had none. So we're using it to introduce a comparison between two things, but not a common word in spoken English. Maybe if you are reading in English, you'll run into that word once in a while. Let's see here. Jamie Ramos says, Renata says, yes, we do use the crazy gesture here. Thanks, Renata. Jamie Ramos says, hi, Bob. This is my first time here in live. Welcome. I just want to say that I love your channel. Thank you very much. I'm glad that you are aboard. Renata says, could you please explain the idiom rest on one's laurels, please? Is it a common one nowadays? Thank you so much, Bob. It is used. When you rest on your laurels, the best example I can give is someone who works really hard at their job or at work for years. And then because they've worked hard for so long, they just start to take it easy and they start to rest on their laurels. Basically, they've been a good worker for so long, they've established that they're a good worker, and now they just kind of sit around and they don't care about it. So when you rest on your laurels, it means that you instead of doing new exciting things at work and becoming better, all you do is you talk about the accomplishments from your past. So you rest on your laurels. Let's go here. Let's see. Si-Yuan Lee, hopefully I pronounced that right. When ordering some food or buying something, you will use I'll have, could I get, can I have, get. Do native speakers feel a little bit different when they hear them? That is exactly what we say, by the way. If I walk into a store, I would say, I'll have a burger. Could I have fries with that? Could I get a Coke? Can I have a donut? That's exactly what we would say. So if you were to use that as you are speaking English, that would sound totally normal, for sure. Absolutely sound completely normal. Let's see here. Next question. So I have a couple things here that aren't questions. Next one is from Kathy. I have a question about learning advanced vocabulary. Is it really worth it? A little correction there. I use advanced vocabulary during conversations I might come across unnatural in my mother tongue in English. So here's what I always say. Learn all of the common vocabulary so that you can understand the news and you can talk about things in the world and you can buy groceries and you can go to school or work. Learn all of the common vocabulary and then learn advanced vocabulary in the areas of study or the subjects that you are in. So if you are a doctor, learn all the advanced vocabulary for the medical world. I think that reading is a great way to learn advanced vocabulary automatically. But certainly it's always worth it to learn more vocabulary. It really is. As long as it is vocabulary that we still use in everyday speech. That's what's important. Rodrigo says, hi, Bob. I hope you're having a good day. Yes, I am. What's the difference between other and another? Your videos help me a lot. I'll have another cookie. The other day I ate too many cookies. So there's a couple examples there. I'll have another cookie means that I would like to have one more cookie. It means I already had a cookie. And if I say I'll have another cookie, it means I'd like an additional cookie. When I say the other day, I'm simply referring to a day in the past. Let me think of another sentence with other. The other brother was not very kind. So one brother was nice, but the other brother, so I'm referring to a different brother, was not. So it is worth, Rodrigo, it is worth looking up on a web page the difference between those two words because it goes far beyond what I just explained to you. They're tricky. Those are tricky ones for sure. Let me see here. A couple more questions. Gisela says, hi, Bob. What is the meaning worked up? like an unpleasant feeling. So it means you're kind of getting angry. Like sometimes I was in a parking lot the other day and two people tried to go into the same parking spot, and the one person was getting really worked up. So he was kind of getting frustrated and angry, and he was honking because he thought he was going to park there and someone else was going to. So he was getting worked up. So that is how I would use that that verb. Moran says, I'm very happy watching your video. So a couple little corrections there. Thank you very much. I'm glad you're here watching it. It's fun to do these video. Next one. Hello, Bob. When do I use never actually? I've never actually gone parachuting. So I've never actually gone parachuting. I could say I've never gone parachuting, or I could say I've actually never gone parachuting, or I've never actually gone parachuting. There's a lot of different ways to say that. And it really is another example of using extra words in English because we like to play around. So again, I could say, I've never actually gone parachuting. I've actually never gone parachuting. I've never gone parachuting. All of those work. Hey folks, we're going to wrap this up. This is the end. I want to say a couple things. First of all, come back and watch this again tomorrow or Monday and turn on the English subtitles. If there were parts of this lesson that you didn't quite understand, it's always worth it to listen to it a second or third time. That's very, very helpful. There will be English subtitles auto-generated in a couple of days. I just want to find something here though. I wanted to remind you too that Sean is going to be doing a live lesson. He's probably starting pretty soon. I am just going to copy the link from that. Here is Sean's lesson starting right now. I hope I'm putting the right link in here. Let me click on it to make sure. That is definitely the right link. Yes. So if you are interested in watching or participating in another live English lesson from a native English speaker, let me take a sip of water. Jump over to Sean's channel right now. I do want to say thank you again to all of you for watching. This was a lot of fun. I hope that you were able to improve your English. Thumbs up are always welcome. Subscribe if you're new here. There will be a new video on Tuesday. And again, it will be about a strategy for learning English in the year 2020. And I will give you some really good tips. One of the things that I like to share is the things I did when I was learning French, because there are so many tools in the world and so many strategies for doing that. So again, bye to all of you. I'll put the link again for Sean's live stream. Sean's live stream is right here. And if you didn't watch my videos from earlier this week, schedule some time for that. There was a video on the first part of my day, how to talk about your daily routine in English. You can search for that. And there's a second part to it. And they were very popular videos. I think the topic was a good topic, and I think they could be helpful for you. So please watch those if you can. But as for me, I'm going to push stop. Bye, everybody.